Hey friends, Kelly here. Today I'm working on week 2 of my 2017 Project Life book. I have pulled together a kit of my own by just going through my stash, pulling out some papers and some old Project Life cards, some old Studio Calico documenter kits, and then also going through some of my December daily stash, anything that was black and white basically, or trees or stars that fit into the color scheme. As you can see, I'm also working with a color scheme. I've decided to go with this kind of seafoam green, blue, charcoal black, and white. And then I've pulled out arrows, stars, and anything that really has anything to do with being outdoors or adventurous, because that's what I'm documenting. Instead of documenting a full week, I am actually just documenting a weekend away that my husband and I had with my best friend and her husband. So first thing I'm going to do is go through my 3x4 cards here. I don't have a lot of spaces I need to fill this week. I'm working with a 12x12 spread and then a 6x12 on either side. And I really don't have a lot of spaces. One, because I'm using that transparency piece, and that's kind of taking up the place of 2 cards. And then it's just a really photo heavy week. So it kind of takes some of the pressure off on having to pick all of these different papers and cards. But of course, it still makes it difficult because there's just a lot of options. For the front of the 6x12, I want it to be a cohesive look with the 12x12 that's behind it. So I want to make sure that everything is looking good while these 2 spreads are, while the spread is closed, so to speak. So I'm going to work on that first. I am going to go through all of the embellishments and chipboards and just start kind of placing things roughly where I think they're going to land. When I do finally decide on an embellishment that I know I'm going to stick with and I'm happy with, I don't want to leave myself open to changing it. So what I'm doing is I'm actually just sticking it down and sticking it in the pocket, and that's going to kind of help me not be tempted to pull it out and make changes. Of course, sometimes I do, but for the most part, that usually kind of, my brain says, okay, stop with that card. Next, I'm going to work on the inside of this spread and kind of work on that other half of the 12x12. And I have this photo down here in the corner. It is of the sunrise in the morning over the lake. And I wanted to document that. And it was originally a 3x4 photo, but I've trimmed it down. I'll end up trimming it down even more. It's not quite square right now, so I need to adjust that. And then I just really kind of play around with it a lot, with different backgrounds, matting it with different options. And I even kind of move it eventually off of that 4x6 card into the 3x4 card. But eventually what I'm going to remember and realize is that I don't really have any other space to journal. And ultimately I do end up moving that little card back. But the choice I make here in just a moment was actually really cute. There's a star card that I go ahead and pull out. I kind of look at it first to just see if I want to use it as a mat. And then when I place it, it kind of looks like a Polaroid photo. And I thought that was really cute, actually. I'm happy with how I end up changing it, but if I had left it like that, it would have been really cute. Next, I'm just pulling out some more of the embellishments and chipboards. I have this little package of tags, these very thin little tags. They have some little icons on the edges, and a few of them have some sentiment. So I just go through this pack and pull out a few that I like. End up using, I think 3 or 4 of them. So I'm going through and placing some of these embellishments. I try these little stars, and then I go through, and for some reason I pull out this little tiny square card, and I finally make the decision to go ahead and move that photo down. And then I pull out this journaling card and look at my photos and realize that that's how I can journal, is I will tell 5 individual little stories of the weekend. I do a quick check to make sure that 5 is enough, or that I can tell 5 stories, and then I settle on that idea and then move back to the front. Now this photo is across the cove from where our cabin is that we stay in every year. And I want to document that that's what this is a view of, not just of cabins, but our actual cabin. So I have this slick writer that works really well on writing on my photos, but it's the only thing that works on these photos. I cannot stamp on the photo paper I use. I print from home and I use the Canon Selfie, and the photo paper has this coating on it rather than it being ink. It's a film and it will not take ink. So if I could figure out how to translate that slick writer, whatever's in that thing, to an ink pad, that would be ideal. So I'm just going to move back in here to the full 12 by 12 spread and start committing and putting everything down and adhering it. For some reason, even though that's a grid card, I still managed to not get it straight, so I have to adjust. And then I put a little bit of washi tape on the top of that. Now looking back, I'm not really sure why I didn't carry the washi tape through to kind of keep that going, but I guess when I look at it, I can see the arrows from the transparency and the arrows in the washi tape, so I guess that pulls it all through. I kind of like that looking back. I'm not sure that was my idea when I was putting this page together. I'm almost sad that I've used up some of these chipboards. I know we're not supposed to hoard. We try to not hoard. We encourage each other not to hoard our supplies, but I really, really loved this kit that I built. I loved the colors. I loved how it all came together, and now looking at it, I'm kind of sad that I don't have those pieces to work with again. But I should be happy they're in the book, and that's ultimately what we want to do with our supplies. We want to use them. So every once in a while, you have to give yourself a little self-talk, a little self-coaching. So working on the inside of the 6x12 and all of those photos about our food and drink for the weekend, I'm going to keep it relatively simple and just put a few embellishments down. And I love using my little tiny attacher for the end of tags and labels like this. For some reason, I can't handle the white space. It just seems unfinished. So when in doubt, staple it. That's my motto. I do want to carry over the color just a bit, so I just put down that little star. I've got another little tag that says hello there, and which is pretty appropriate because that was our very first thing we did. Was on our way up, we met about an hour and a half north of where we live, and we stopped at one of our favorite little breweries and had ourself a nice little celebratory, kid-free weekend toast. Next, I'm going to work on my title card here, and I've pulled out these puffy alpha stickers from Felicity Jane. They are the perfect color. I love these alpha stickers because they have numbers and they have a lot of them. So working on this card, I know that if I just put everything right down onto the paper, I think it's going to get a little lost. So I go in and pull out this 3x4 card and just trim it in half, and that's going to give me my space to put down my title, which is just simply week 2. Now I like to have a piece of wax paper handy to work with whenever I am working with alpha stickers or embellishments that have a sticky back, because then I don't have to fully commit and I can kind of play around and move things around. Now, I'll admit I don't always remember to do this, but when I do, it's a pretty slick little tool and it works out well. It also helps when you misspell something or realize that you don't have enough of a certain letter, and that happens to me quite often, especially when it comes to the letter E. I would love for an alpha sticker set that is only W's, E's, and K's and numbers, because how often are we spelling week? I need all of the W's, E's, and the K's. And numbers don't hurt either. So to finish off my title card, I'm just going to add a few embellishments. I'm going to carry through the star theme and place a few stars down. Now the adhesive on the back of some of these came off because they kind of got stuck in the kit, and I ended up sticking them down onto a piece of extra packaging, and then when I pulled them off, the adhesive sticker part stuck to the packaging. So I just have to glue those down with a glue pen. And the last thing that this card needs is just the dates. So I'm going to pull out one of those white tags, skinny tags again. And of course I've lost my pen, so I'll have to go looking for that for a moment. And don't forget the tiny attacher. I can't believe I haven't run out of staples for that thing yet. It's like they multiply in my drawer at night. So there is the 12 by 12, 6 by 12 closed spread. Looks good. I'm going to move into the inside again, and I am going to start working on my journaling. So the way I'm going to tackle my journaling for this spread is with lists. I'm going to use that journal card, and then I'm going to go and put the corresponding number to the story that I want to tell. This is one of my favorite ways to journal. I am not one for writing super long stories. It's certainly something I wish I could be better at, and I know it takes practice. I'm impatient and I don't want to sit down and tell a long story. Ultimately, these scrapbooks are mostly for me and my family. We all did these things. We all know what we were doing. I'm not writing a lot in here about my feelings or emotions. I'm pretty much just telling a quick story, or really just giving a cue to remember what something was about or something in particular. But a lot of times my journaling is very simple, and when I look back at my books, quite honestly, most of the time it says something like, this was fun, that was great, this was awesome. So why I even bother sometimes, I don't know, but I feel like the need to write something. I also don't mind writing in my own handwriting. I don't love it, but I'm kind of lazy, and the idea of taking that to my typewriter just seems like a lot of work. I've realized that I want to tell a story about the dinner that we made. We made fondue one night, and it was quite a production. So I want to make sure I tell a little bit more about what that photo is in the story. So I moved the story I was going to tell about my husband and I spending time up north together, moved that over to the food instead. Finished off my journaling, had to trim that little card down, stick it in the pocket, and that is that. The spread is completely done. I love how it turned out. My favorite colors, my favorite weekend, my favorite people. So thanks for watching, and I would really encourage you to go through your stash and create a kit, especially if you have something specific to talk about. So don't forget to like this video. I would love for you to give it a little thumbs up. Subscribe to my channel. That would be awesome. And then finally, don't forget to hit that little bell. That way you'll get notifications when new videos are posted. Thanks for watching, friends, and I'll see you next time.